Okay, so all beings have one thing, attention. Okay, so that is the thing everybody has. Whether you have something else or not doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Whether you have this in the world or not that in the world or whatever, or you have this or you have you are healthy or you have disease or you have whatever, but you have attention. Okay, everybody has attention. All right. So now that attention can be either put on something more interesting than oneself, or it can be put on oneself. Okay, there are two ways it can go. Okay, so like if beings are putting attention on the interesting, that's a natural thing to do. Like if you are in whatever situation and you come across something more interesting than yourself, and then you put attention on that, that's the natural thing to do. It's a very natural, it comes naturally to like that thing, to put attention on something more interesting. That's the way of the nature, that's the way of the force, that's the way of the divine. Okay, that's the way of the force, to always, that will always go towards more interesting. Like how Parvati puts attention on Shiv because Shiv is much more interesting, right?
Yeah.
But if beings, when they come across something interesting, do not put attention on it and still put attention back on themselves. Oh, what is my problem? What is my situation? What is my thing? What is that thing? Do you know what I'm saying? That's unnatural, because all you'll get out there is pain, torture, hellishness, because nothing pleasurable or joyful or happy is going to come out from putting attention on oneself, which is not interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and one situation which is a bad situation. Okay, so you can either put attention on it and cry about it, or just put attention on something more interesting. So when you start putting attention on something more interesting, that's the beginning of a natural process.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is proper use of attention. That's the only use of attention. Okay, and once you start putting attention, you have to put attention continuously all the time. And when you put attention continuously out there all the time, then you will find out about its qualities of what you are putting attention on. And when you find out about those qualities, then you have to praise those qualities, you have to speak those qualities out. You have to talk about them, you have to speak those out. Okay, so now something which was interesting is becoming more like legible to you. You know what I'm saying? It is, yeah, you're coming to know its characteristics, its qualities, and that thing, and you're speaking about them and you're praising. That's the first step. Okay, so that is how the natural cycle functions. But if beings can't be on that cycle, if they continuously, like after putting attention on something interesting, they immediately start putting attention back on themselves. And if you put attention back on yourself, then you'll end up putting attention on a lot of other beings which are not interesting. Because self will only be comfortable in dealing with those beings, which you can handle, which yourself can handle, or deal with in a non-interesting way. And putting attention on the self will create all kinds of problems, like you'll come to know how bad your situation is and all of that. But there will be nothing you can do about it. Just by putting attention on your oneself, you can't get out of that situation, no matter what you do. So if that's why a higher being is like this, and you are here, and if it comes across you, then you have to put attention towards that, and that is the thing which takes you towards it. So then automatically you get out of your bad state which you are in, just by putting attention on it. But then like a magnet, you gravitate towards it. If you put attention on yourself, and then you are just here, and in bad situation, there's nothing which is going to happen. Maximum worst situation get created and you can go down. So because once you have come across something higher and more interesting, and you don't go towards it, you are in trouble. You are in big trouble. Okay, because that's a natural thing to do, and you're not doing the natural thing. So if you don't do that natural thing, there's nothing which can help you from that, like Jim said. It is a sure case of that you'll go into more deeper. That's Jim said. Okay. Now it's a very simple thing. Either you put attention out towards more interesting, and then keep on putting that attention, and then if you keep on putting that attention without bringing attention back onto oneself, that's the way. So if you do that, you'll go higher. And you'll automatically, like, in a magnetic way, rise towards higher through praise and bowing and serving. But praising is the first process, and then leads to bowing, it leads to serving. Okay, so this is the first basic thing. When you realize that you're a being, and then you have once you are a being, you have attention, and how to use that attention positively for yourself. Just by focusing it on the self, you're not going to get anywhere. Okay. Only way to get somewhere. That's why beings used to put attention to rishis or higher beings or divine. And if someone comes across something like this right now in this world, which is much more interesting than them, then it is natural for them to put all their attention there and not on oneself. Okay. Like, one has to put attention on the most interesting. Okay, naturally that will happen, like you say. So it's not like the other beings. If you start putting attention to other beings which are not interesting, then what is the...
But what if they are interesting? Because they're more interesting than oneself.
Yeah, they might be interesting, but like, you have to go for the most natural thing will be to go toward the most interesting.
Yeah, wherever the most interesting is there, choose that one.
Yeah, one will always choose the one which is most interesting.
Always.
Yeah, like, that's the naturalist thing to do is, why does Parvati choose Shiv? Because Shiv is the most.
Yeah, most interesting.
Most.
Yeah, if you have options, you choose the one that's the most.
Most, obviously, always most.
Always.
And if you're choosing less than the most, then you are being unnatural anyways. And then you will pay for that unnaturality.
That's also unnatural.
Makes sense.
So you'll pay for that unnaturality. Okay.
Yeah, you pay for that unnaturality.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really so kind of you to clarify that point.
Yeah, because
That's really important.
that's but logical. In anybody, like Jim saying, any being, like, if it comes across something most interesting, it has to just pay attention to that most interesting. There's no.
Yeah, makes sense.
There's no second thing about it. Like,
because
there's
it's the most interesting. It's the thing that is the most engaging.
Yeah, and if you deliberately don't put attention there and put attention on yourself or some others, then you are. What are you doing? Like, you're going totally against nature and natural way of being. Like Jim saying, then, and then you pay for that, and then people pay for that, and then they cry and that thing,
Yes.
scream.
But people pay for being
when the consequences come.
Yeah.
One just can't be like that. No one can be like that. Jim saying.
No one can be unnatural.
Yeah, but that's where the whole beingness thing, which I talked about before, helps. Because once you realize that, and once you have those questions, you become more natural and childlike, and that's where you're able to put attention on the most interesting immediately. So that's why whatever I've spoken in all those other talks helps lay a foundation for being natural.
It really does.
So, like, people are already like asking for the multiversal laws and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Because people just want to hurry and jump the gun, and they don't realize that they have to get some basics in place before they can even understand anything further. Like Tim saying, like, if you're in kindergarten, you can't be looking at PhD already. Like Tim saying, you have to go step by step in everything, and people just want to run, like, that's all.
Totally.
They want to jump and run, like Tim said, forward. And they like, now this is a very basic thing. Putting attention on something more interesting and the most interesting is the basic natural thing, which comes after beingness. And if you can't continuously put attention there, Jim saying, you're not going anywhere, like, anyways. And that's what Parvati's tapasya was, that she's putting attention on Shiv all the time, that's all. That's tapasya, that's penance, that's going higher, that's everything. Like, that's what the story tells. That's, if you don't get that, then you're not worshipping them, you're not doing anything, like Jim said. If you don't understand what the principle is, then you have nothing to do with the actual story or that thing. If you yourself cannot put attention on something more interesting and most interesting, then what is the use of the Parvati story or Shiv story, and what is the use of you worshipping Parvati or Shiv or any of these things?
Well, that
Makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah, you're not really honouring that principle.
Which they represent.
Yeah.
They are
Makes sense.
So that principle is the most important thing. Like
yes.
Wow, that's beautiful.